Hi there, welcome to another Blaze Hackman Industries reaction video. This time we're looking at the first MMA fight I ever saw. This goes back a long way. Early 90s, I'd say. I don't know how I even saw this because it was pre-internet. So a mate of mine must have had it on VHS. That guy that showed me this, he kind of introduced me to the concept of no-holds-barred fighting. And I'd heard about the Gracies, and I knew that I was living in Sydney at the time, but I knew that they had a place like a gym down in Melbourne, so I had been to Melbourne on and off and sort of hunted down the gym and looked at it. I was just curious. I was just fascinated by the violence that I saw. And this fight in particular, it really did set me on my way. I've never forgotten this fight. It's the first one I ever saw. And people, I always state this in these kind of videos, they always talk about Gracie versus Shamrock 1 in the UFC, how that really kind of just set aside all the bullshit forms of martial arts and showed us something that's going to work practically in the street. And for me, that's the most important thing. It's always going to be about survival. That's my personal theory. It doesn't always line up with everyone else, especially in modern jiu-jitsu, but to me, it's always about survival. And this, to me, is a lesson in survival. And it's like my last review, Mike Batonio versus Bart Vale fight. That was a lesson in survival when you're getting headbutted. So this one here, basically, Erik Paulson, who's a great fighter in his own right, he made a grave error. He had long hair, and he decided not to cut his hair, because I saw an interview with him online somewhere years later, and he said, I thought it was going to be okay. Let's put my hair in a bun. Didn't work out that way, but once again, you kind of find a way through, and if you don't survive, at least you buy time, so you might survive a bit longer. So that's always been the fascinating part of this fight for me. It's another one no one talks about. It's kind of like a lost fight. But once you see this, you can really appreciate both these fighters, James Waring included, kind of improvising on the run with what they've got. It really is the Wild West. And I always keep this fight in mind because my opinion is that in modern jiu-jitsu, just people are so far away now from fighting in jiu-jitsu in a lot of ways that they don't understand that this is where it all began. And this is why you're doing it. I personally just don't see the point of having a bunch of fancy moves and doing gi jiu-jitsu, no gi jiu-jitsu. It's just like pointless exercising if it's not bedded in the fundamental principle of survival. So let's start the video and see what we got here. Early 90s. It's James Waring.
Now, once again, the thing that stands out to me, of course, is the 33-pound weight difference. But again, Ray, I got to ask you, the 8 or 9 year age difference, is that going to be an issue?
Yeah, so props to James Waring. He's a fair bit older than Erik Paulson, probably in the twilight of his boxing career. I think actually James Waring went on to be a UFC referee at one point. And he's heavier, he's older, he's taller, and he's doing boxing. And I just don't know exact date of this one, but I think all these events in UFC were emerging. This is, I think, World Combat Challenge. So they're all coming out at the same time, and we're in this weird sort of zone where you'd have a guy that kind of knew what he was doing with all-round mixed martial arts, standing up on the ground, kicking, striking, and you've got a boxer. And we'd seen in the UFC a lot of boxers who'd just gone in there. I remember one fight, the guy went in with one glove, and basically just once they're on the ground, they get destroyed. So I don't know if James Waring knew that before or after. Maybe we'll get some information about that during the fight.
Let me just set the record straight. I'm going for James Waring. He's my guy. Okay. He's a boxer. Yeah. But I think Paulson will win it because of his experience on the ground. James does not know how to work on the ground, or didn't show it the first fight.
Great job, Ray. Way to hedge your bet. Let's head up to John Higginson. John?
Round cage once again.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the combatants in the second of our semi-final matches. These fighters belong to the striker division. Standing in the red corner wearing black and red.
I mean, look at Paulson. Apart from his beautiful long locks, he's He looks like he means business. And it's also funny, these ring announcers, because in the UFC they had a guy called Rich Goins, and all those earlier ring announcers are hilarious. Rich Goins, in fact, is very funny because he would introduce, I'm sure he did the early UFC, and he'd like, oh, it's Gracie, Gracie. Had this weird habit of saying the surname of the fighter twice. Very old school. Bit different to Buffer now. If you look at Bruce Buffer now, he's almost fighting the fighters when he introduces them, which I love. Okay. Lost sound for a second there. What's going on? Where's the sound gone? Hang on. Go back over here. Sorry.
In the quarterfinal round, he has earned his place in the semifinal round. Let's hear it for Erik Paulson.
So who did he defeat? He only defeated someone. Sorry about this.
Standing in the red corner wearing black and red, having defeated Sean McCulley by submission
Okay.
in the quarterfinal round.
So he's already had a fight in the quarterfinals. So this is a tournament-style event like the UFC.
He has earned his place in the semifinal round. Let's hear it for Erik Paulson. And in the gold corner, wearing purple shorts, this man enters the ring having defeated Jerome Turkan by submission in the quarterfinal round. James Jr. Waring.
He's 6'3". He looks like he's not to be messed with. Also, I note that the size of the walls of this cage are pretty short. If James wearing 6'3", Paulson 6, I mean, that's up to his shoulder. So they're like, the cage is only like 5'8" or 5'9". Very different to the modern cage.
Let's go. Let's go. Again, 2 minutes on the ground, 22-minute match. There is no submission, no choking, no grappling. Any questions, sir? Any questions, sir?
2 minutes on the ground, no choking, submission, or grappling. Wow, I forgot all about that.
Back to your corner, please. Back to your corner, please.
Ray, you had a chance to look up close at Paulson's face. It seems to me that because of the bumps and bruises and the cuts that he took right there, those could open up easily.
Very easy with a good right hand across or a good left hook, headbutt. They will probably open up.
And Waring's experience as a boxer, Bob, he's going to take advantage of it.
I would expect Waring to win this match, but we'll see.
I think
Tom Waring is so confident when he's on his feet.
Boy, he just exudes confidence and very, very quick, Todd. I mean, I've been very...
I mean, you look at bare knuckle boxing now, and you can see these hand wrap situations now, and that's what Waring's running with there. So it's probably what he would do as a boxer, and then obviously he just doesn't have gloves, and both of them have got ankle wraps on, lycra pants. I mean, I think the setup's pretty good. It's what I expect, but unfortunately, yeah, you're going to see what happens with Erik's poor choice of head wraps.
Surprisingly impressed with how quick he is.
And you can see, Bob, that Paulson's a little bit wary right there. He doesn't want to walk into one of those right crosses.
No, he knows there's dynamite on the end of that right hand.
I would think he would want to get James down to the ground as soon as possible.
But again, he can't make him submit, so he's going to try to kick him, I think.
Well, but you know what? The problem with that is we saw the record, 37-3-1 as a boxer. He also has done some kickboxing, so that's not a big issue for Waring either, Bob.
No question, James Waring was a kickboxing champion.
So interesting there that Erik Paulson is just trying to chop down the tree. Early tactics, and it's an enduring tactic, is you have a bigger fighter, taller fighter, just chop down those legs. Takes away a lot of their power as a striker, especially in a boxer. You're going to take that power away. So it's a good tactic. And to Waring's credit, it says he's a boxer, but his kicks look okay too.
Surprised it started this slow, Tom?
Actually, I'm not. I'm really not. I mean, I think these guys are really going to feel each other out for a while and try and just stalk each other before they get into it.
Well, both are very experienced fighters, and clearly they're not in a hurry.
You know, the old adage in boxing is when you're fighting an older opponent, go to the body, take his legs away. In this case, I think they're trying to kick side, a sweep with the leg kick to try and take the legs out.
So there you go. This is something you never see anymore. I don't know if the referee's going to correct this, but Paulson's holding the cage with his right hand, and so is Waring. They're both attached to the cage.
Well, Paulson opting to go with some knee butts, but the height of Waring is an advantage because he can't get to the groin with that knee, Bob, because he's so tall.
Paulson's doing what he's got to do. He's going to try to wear out and try to work a knee in here so he can get a little hematoma going to the leg.
Tom, the one thing that stands
It says on the graphic there that one's got blaze trunks, the other one's got purple trunks. So there's an actual error in the graphic, which is kind of hilarious. And the other thing is, just remember, both these guys have already fought tonight and won.
up to me those Waring's experience.
I tell you, Todd, he's doing very well there. I mean, he's deflecting these blows very, very well with his legs. Doing kind of a rope-a-dope thing here.
You can see the cornerman of Waring exhorting his fighter right on top of things. If I was him, I'd be suggesting he get his punch to the face. And right now you can see there's a swelling over the eye of Paulson, Bob.
Absolutely.
This should benefit James Waring. This is where his infighting from boxing should take effect. Coming up over through the middle with the uppercuts and over.
So there you go. There's another thing you don't see anymore. It's like 5 heavy strikes to the back of the head. Not allowed anymore, obviously.
Well, Ray, one of the problems here for Erik Paulson is even if his eyes and his cuts open up, unlike boxing, there is no break. He's not going to get a between-round opportunity of his cut man fix it.
That's right. That's right. Again, I still would think that Paulson would run it, flip him over, get him on the ground, and do some damage on the floor.
Grab that ponytail.
Well, Tom, last match when we watched
The actual commentator said, grab that ponytail. Maybe that's where they got the idea from. I haven't watched this fight in a long time, so there's details that I just either never noticed or forgotten. So that's incredible.
Paulson, it looked like he was running out of gas, and then out of nowhere, he went after McCauley. Do you see the same pattern here?
Great second win. But I'll tell you something. I don't know if he's the man to pull it off with Waring, because this is really a classic boxing situation here, and Waring's right at home in this situation.
You know, one of the subtle things, Ray, that people might be missing is that Waring is landing some body punches. That could be taking something away from Paulson.
Absolutely. But Todd, also when they're in tight, James has tendency to grab. He grabs
That got through.
chain fence with his hand. Paulson's head's on the other side, but he's wide open for left hook. But Paulson can't see because his head's down.
Well, Waring went with the right hook there, and he caught him a pretty good shot. But Paulson.
Oh, nice high kick.
Paulson comes with the kick to.
I don't know what Jun fan is. I should actually know that. It's obviously sounds like got origins in Asia somewhere, but that's. I think there's somewhere evidence of a warm-up trailer somewhere in this event of Paulson. It looks kind of cheesy, I must say, but he's got some, he's still running a gym. He's had some health issues, but he's got his gym in the United States. And what's that UFC fighter, a really heavy one, Josh Barnett, is one of his pupils.
The face and scores, but obviously it wasn't very great.
Oh, goes for the takedown, goes for the trip, oil check.
Boy, he's trying to get him down, Todd, but he can't.
Well done. That would have changed the fight if he got him down.
They're thinking that the winner of this fight, no matter who's the winner, is going to go against Renzo Gracie and be very fatigued. Because look at this, is a rough fight.
Bob, it's clear that Paulson wants to get Waring to the ground, but Waring's having none of it, and I think the advantage as a result has been Waring.
I mean, his cornerman is basically standing, screaming over the top of the cage, and that's another no-no. And you've got the guy at the boom mic who's shoving that in their faces as they're fighting as well. So and then you've got the referee. So there's like 5 people in this fight. This is just Wild West shit.
Yes, and Waring's got very strong legs. Obviously, he's done a lot of work on his legs, and those James Waring's very strong legs have kept him where he
Guy in the background, they're loving it.
Oh, yeah, well, Ray said that they were old. Ray said they're almost 38-year-old legs.
Now he's grabbed the ponytail.
38-year-old legs are hanging in there pretty well.
They're hanging in there surprisingly well, very well.
Let's just go back a bit, right? And let's see the moment that Waring's gone, you know what? I'll grab the ponytail. There it is, look. There's a point there. You look at this, they're kind of engaging. I think, so you got this guy in the background. Is this guy here, right? That's in the background. He's freaking loving it as he's knocking out 20 pieces. And then you've got this guy in the combat shorts. I think that's Paulson's co-trainer, and he might have the ponytail as well. the boom guy over here, and then I think there's a point where he almost got Waring down, where he's like, fuck this, I'm just going to grab his ponytail.
But Waring's having none of it, and I think the advantage as a result has been
He's grabbing his pants. He's trying to pull his pants down. With that left hand.
James Waring's very strong legs have kept him.
Now he's grabbed the ponytail.
Oh yeah, well Ray said that they were old. Ray said they're almost 38-year-old legs.
Maybe that's Waring's trainer that's telling him, getting in his ear in the camo pants.
Surprisingly well, very well. He's obviously, as Bob mentioned, done a lot of work on him, and I think this is kind of throwing Paulson for a loop. I don't think he was expecting him to be this tough.
And that goes James Waring grabbing the hair of Erik Paulson. The hair comes into play again.
Finally, right here is a point where if Waring's able to get his right arm free, it's going to be an issue. Paulson is smart. He's trying to keep that right arm in there. Now it's out.
Oh, that's basically two illegal things happening at once. This is in modern MMA. Three things when you think about it, right? Four things. You got the guy, the trainer, one of the trainers screaming over the cage. Not allowed anymore. You got an elbow that's going from 12 till 6. Not allowed. And not only that, it's going to the spine and the back of the head. Not allowed. Not only that, they don't have any gloves on. Not allowed. Not only that, but he's pulling his hair. Also not allowed. This is just... I mean, you might as well not have the freaking referee there. It's hilarious.
To use the elbow, and that's exactly what he did, Bob.
You're absolutely right. He knows he's in close. He can't get a good punch off. He's going to use that elbow to his advantage.
Now Waring was smart. Waring was smart there. He tried to bait him to get on the ground, but Waring knows if he's on his feet, Ray, he has supreme confidence. He said it to you over and over again. If I'm on my feet for 5 minutes, I'll knock the other guy out.
Right.
Yeah,
Nobody
it's
can
true.
outbox me, he said.
Waring's been
But you know
smart.
what? Again, Paulson should try to go to the body.
I mean, if you had someone who's a very good wrestler, this fight would be over very quickly, because a good wrestler, a high-level wrestler, like a college wrestler even, in the US, there's a big college wrestling culture, so even a really good, like average to good wrestler would just shoot, take a double leg, and get this guy down.
Some body shots to the liver and kidneys, take the legs away. Again, I'm sure I want to see James Waring do well, but I just think that Paulson should use the style on the ground, get Waring to the ground as fast as he can, and go to work from there.
Yeah, Erik Paulson needs to shoot in and grab the forward leg of James Waring and take him to the ground. So far, he hasn't done that. He's gone to the upper body.
Tom, what do you see with regards to Paulson?
Outside leg kick, he's punishing that leg.
No, it doesn't. But I'll tell you something. Waring looks even less fatigued than Paulson is. I mean, I think he's even...
So Paulson's now thought, shit, he grabbed my hair. I don't want to do that again. It's a bad place to be. So what he's doing is he's just coming in, putting a couple of strikes in there and getting out again. And he's concentrating on that lead leg of Waring. And Waring felt those last three, it put him off balance. You could tell he did not like that. So then Paulson's just separating because he doesn't want him to grab his hair again.
stronger at this point than he is. And, he's got 7 years on him.
And it's almost like Waring's got some strikes and some kicks, and he probably did some rudimentary stuff. I could be wrong, but there's no power behind it. He just knows enough to deflect or say, hey, I can kick you back, but I don't think there's any power behind it.
Well, clearly, Bob, Paulson has the superior feet in terms of kicking, but maybe at this point that's not an issue.
Well, Paulson's made it work for him. He knows that's one of his strengths standing up. I'm just surprised that he hasn't tried to shoot in and take Waring to the ground by doing a leg.
Ray, already the length of the match has gone beyond what we're used to. Does that favor Paulson, the younger man?
I would think so, because he's shown that he's got a good stamina. He showed that against McCulley in the first fight. I think that would be to his benefit. But if he's on the end of those punches of James Waring, I don't care how long it goes, it's gonna hurt. He's not gonna benefit.
But you know what? On the flip side of that,
Waring's a monster.
Has done nothing, Tom, to make Waring get worn out.
No, he really hasn't. He really hasn't. And Waring hasn't fallen for the
Because it's actually, if this was a stand-up, Waring would come forward and just punish Paulson, but you can see that Paulson's in his head, that he doesn't want to overcommit, get too close to striking, because he's worried about Paulson just getting under his hands and getting lucky with a trip. He almost got him down before. This would have been a completely different fight if he got him down. But I don't understand this event. I haven't studied it that much, but 2 minutes on the ground doesn't seem that fair. But maybe they're trying to account for the fact that Waring basically has no grappling on the ground. And so they're trying to make it equitable and compare, combat styles and also compensate for the deficiencies so that you can kind of tell who's the best fighter based on their skill set. So if you're going with like 6, if you've got wrestling, kickboxing, boxing, grappling, striking, all six disciplines, and you're masters at them, and then this guy's a master at one of boxing, then it doesn't seem reasonable that they would divide up the time that way.
Temptation to fight this thing out on the mat, so he's holding his ground. And I'm really surprised that his legs are as strong as they are.
Are you surprised, Bob, that Paulson has not made a more concerted effort to get to the ground?
Absolutely. I think it's an unfortunate strategy. It's a strategy mistake because he doesn't have the weight. He certainly doesn't want to stand up forever because eventually James Waring is going to get one of those big punches in. So
spinning back fist attempt.
Shooting in, grabbing one of those legs and taking him to the mat, just as Ray said.
Oh, okay. See, that was like a Taekwondo sidekick from Waring. So I might be being too harsh here. He's slow. There's not much power on them, but I'm freaking impressed by him. Like I always in my head I thought he just did boxing, but that was a fairly decent sidekick, like a Taekwondo kick.
Elbow blows, take some of the energy out of James Waring. He's very fresh right now.
Sure is. I mean, Waring is, to coin the phrase, wearing him down. He looks a lot fresher than Paulson does.
I think this is where James Waring should use his boxing technique and double and triple jab on Erik Paulson. Just keep him working.
Ooh.
Good straight left hand by Waring. But look at Paulson. He screamed out and said, "That didn't hurt me. That didn't hurt me."
I missed that. Did Paulson talk some shit back then? Here, let's go back again. Let's have a look at that.
I think this is where James Waring should use his boxing technique and double and triple jab on Erik Paulson. Just keep him working.
Good straight left hand by Waring. But look at Paulson.
He screamed at him. He said some shit.
That didn't hurt me.
Which usually means it did.
Well, once again, I mentioned the attack of Paulson. Clearly, Waring is not in a big hurry either. I would have thought, Ray, that by this time, he'd have been going with a lot of headshots.
Yeah, he's really doing those outside right kicks.
Double, triple jab, try to drop her.
Because Waring's quite heavy on that lead leg, and he's Paulson's sitting right there. He's just keep chipping away at that lead leg.
Uppercut.
Stay on the outside.
Standing up like this is only benefiting Waring, but he's not doing what he should like in the ring. Right now, he'd be backing him up with the jab. He isn't doing that.
Well, this has been the longest fight of the evening thus far, Tom. And one thing that I'm surprised at here is the fact that clearly the one fight took something out.
That was a decent kick. That backed him up.
He saw him stagger a little, but I'm not sure Paulson was hurt as much as people thought, Bob.
Well, we're over 8 minutes in this match, so conditioning's going to begin to tell.
Nice angle.
When it comes to those kicks, either guys.
No, he just scored a couple of good ones.
See, right there, Paulson has his left hand. I don't know why he's not taking off defense.
See, and I mean, it's a wrestling technique as well, but when you're in this position, you got someone against the cage, you want to get the top of the crown of your skull underneath their jaw, and actually, you're controlling their head, you're controlling their spine, it controls this posture, and Paulson did that briefly then, and then where he's like, oh, I don't want any part of that, so I'm going to grab your hair again to counter control your skull control.
And try to hit James Waring with left hooks on the side of the head.
Well, again, I remind you of the fatigue factor. Of course, only 2.5 minutes for Waring. Paulson had a battle royale in his earlier match with McCulley, so maybe that has something to do with it.
And you see Waring's got a hold of Paulson's hair right now, which is controlling the match.
Headbutt.
Oh, that was a headbutt. This is a bad position. So I think Paulson's, by his own admission, said it was a mistake having this. I think actually it was a post-fight interview, and he's like, oh, shit, I shouldn't have done that. That was a mistake. But he really is in survival mode now. But, with that left hand, he's bracing because he's just got headbutted, so he doesn't want that to happen again. He's actually controlling, right hand, he's controlling Waring's striking his lead left. But unfortunately, his head is pinned by Waring's right hand against the cage. I mean, this is a bad outcome so far.
Good headbutt by James Waring.
There's our special camera looking through the eye, getting as close as we possibly can.
Waring now spending most of his time trying to get that one shot. Good left hand to the ear of Paulson, but Paulson hanging in there.
So see, now we're in survival mode. Now this guy's not mucking around. He's got to control your head, and Paulson didn't anticipate this poor choice, so now he has to improvise. He has to survive.
And he got an uppercut.
Nice uppercut by Paulson and a couple of good knee kicks.
I think that surprised Waring, Ray. I don't think he thought Paulson could score like that.
No, he was very quick with that shot. But it's back to again with his hand. He should use one of his hands, try to drop short left hooks, right hooks on top of James Waring.
Oh, to the spine again.
See that hair? He's holding that hair.
Once again, the hair is an issue, Bob. He's not able to score like that if he can't hold on to the hair.
Well, again, Erik Paulson needs to be hooking a leg around James Waring so that he can put some pressure, grab his waist, and take him to the mat.
We have not had any discernible time at all on the mat, Tom. I'm just very surprised here with regards to Paulson. If for no other reason, get to the mat and take a break where his skills are superior.
Absolutely. Go to your strengths. He's playing right into Waring's strengths here and has been for the whole match. It's not a good strategy long term, I don't think.
And in the fight business, when you're a little older and your legs are giving out a little bit, they tell you lay on the ropes to regain your strength.
So you can see Paulson's strategy here is to stay as close as he can and pin his head to Waring's chest. And then in some ways, I think that's relieving the pressure. It's also giving Waring less leverage. He can't swing as much. He can't get that swing to really, I mean, he's contacting, but with less power. But that's a big, strong man that's got a hold of your ponytail right there, son.
Regain your wind. I think this only benefits James Waring. Laying up against the fence, he's getting his strength. He's getting his wind back.
And he's got him by the hair.
Right.
No choking.
No choking. I don't think he's trying to choke him. I think he's trying to push his head away, but it didn't look like a choke.
Can't feel good.
You heard Cecil
Hammer
Peoples
fist.
tell Waring not to choke, but he has an absolute death grip on the back of Paulson's hair.
Death grip is right.
Now Paulson scores with a couple of rights.
Paulson's not mucking around, man. I mean, he is a gamer. He's got his head in a vice, and he's still trying to counterpunch. He's got rights, he's got uppercuts, but now Waring's coming back with some pretty solid body shots with some knees.
Oh, the right knee to the head.
Up to the head.
That was a blow right there. And once again, he's still got a hold of the hair. Now he's looking for a shot that can finish it. He's going to go with the left hand. Goes with the top. Bob, if he is going to continue in this competition, I mean,
Oh, body shot.
The hair has got to be cut.
Well, we've certainly said that before, but it's proven to be his undoing to this point of this match.
Ray, I'm saying we're halfway through now, 10 minutes of this bout. I'm having to say that no doubt Waring would not scored in some of those punches had he not had a hold of the hair.
And this is a question of vanity versus practicality, and he's got to cut the dew. This is ridiculous.
Well, else is going to get his scalp ripped off.
Yeah.
Because you could see when he was on the floor squirming around, it was painful because of the...
I mean, he was on the floor. He had him by the hair, and then Paulson was rolling, but I think he was rolling his hair, into a knot, tighter, making it even more uncomfortable. It's just a merciless position.
James Waring, hold on to the hair.
Well, you can see that flurry took a little bit out of James Waring. He's taking a little break, trying to get a knee in. But you can see he's breathing through his mouth. He's a little exhausted, Bob.
No question, this hair has just been the answer for James Waring. He's got his death grip on that head.
He's not letting go of that.
Tom, it appears at this point, as he continues to hold on to the hair, that Waring is looking for the one big shot.
And he'll get it, Todd. There's no question. I mean, I think this is just inevitable if it stays like this. They're playing right to his strengths.
I mean, in a way, I think it's a compliment to Paulson from Waring saying, I know if I let go of your hair, you're going to take me down and fuck me up. So I think that's the psychology. It could be 60-40. It could be like 40%, yeah, this is a great position and I've got you. But there's a large proportion of that, which is, I don't want to be taken down.
Bob, look at
Waring's getting tired too. They're both tired, obviously.
his hair.
And after that flurry, like Paulson's like grabbing the fence again, trying to regain his composure because he's got ragdolled and thrown around. Like he was just basically being abused. But he's, it's humiliating, but he's just staying cool and regathering, and he's still in the fight.
It's going to be so incredibly difficult, whoever does win this match, to go into the final against a well-rested Renzo Gracie.
There's no question.
Yeah.
Shit, did you hear that? Renzo Gracie is next on this fight, so they're both doomed. In fact, I think Renzo destroyed Waring after this, and that's not a nice thought. I go through this and then have to fight Renzo Gracie, and he was a killer. He was a venomous fighter back in the day.
Basically hasn't broken a sweat tonight.
Still is.
Well, two gentlemen that have broken a sweat are Erik Paulson and James Waring. Well over 13 minutes of fighting thus far. What do you think of the conditioning of Paulson thus far, Bob?
Well, I think you have to give him a lot of credit. This has been a very tough match. Having your hair pulled this long can't be any fun. He's taken a lot of knees. So you got to give him credit for his conditioning to get this far.
Ray, you made the phrase earlier, a heart too big. Could that be the case with Paulson?
Well, not only that, I think he has the skills to back it up, but right now, he's not in a position to show his skills. He's in a defensive position. He's just got to get James Waring's hand off his hair.
Yeah, this is the commentators saying the right thing. It's actually neutralized all Paulson's skills. It's a complete error. As I've stated twice now, by Paulson's own admission, it was a bad choice.
A defensive position maybe, Tom, but you got to give credit to Waring for that.
Absolutely, but I mean, Paulson has really handicapped himself here, Todd. He really has. I would be very interested to see how this thing would have gone if Waring didn't have that hunk of hair to grab onto for virtually all this fight.
It really has been virtually all of the fight, and you hate to keep harping on it, but your issue with regards to practicality versus vanity is right on the money.
I mean, to me, Erik Paulson right here should drop one low, south to the border, just take it, bang.
Yeah, I mean, I think Paulson's keeping himself pinned and upright so he doesn't end up on the bottom by holding the fence with his right hand, but surely you just snap a quick right hand to the jaw of Waring right now and then just release, snap it, reattach to the fence.
Because what else you got to do? You got to make James Waring drop that hand somehow. Bob, what can he do?
Well, you hear the crowd booing now, wanting to get some action, but quite frankly, Bob, it looks to me like both guys are fatigued.
No question about that. I mean, this has taken a lot of energy out of these guys, with Paulson getting the worst of it because he's locked up with that hair.
Boy, Gracie has got to be back there just licking his chops, no matter who ends up emerging victorious.
Nice trip attempt.
Here. I mean, he's going to be lunch meat by the time
foot stomp.
James Waring trying to trip the legs of Paulson.
Okay, so we got foot stomps there. I don't know if Waring did one, and then Paulson replied, Marco Huas, king of the streets. That was his signature move. Occasionally you'll see it in UFC, modern fighting. Sometimes people say, it's a bit of a dirty move, but hey, it's in the rules. So you get that heel, you stomp on their toes, try and break their toes. This is a survival situation. Do what you can.
Partially successful, but the reason he wasn't is he still had a hold of his hair.
Well, exactly. James Waring has been trying to stomp the feet of Erik Paulson and having some good effect with it. Those hurt.
Up close, you can see. I'm trying to listen to what the manager is trying to say. At this point, I don't think that he has ever let go of the hair as yet. He's had a hold of the hair now for going on over 5 minutes.
See, right here is where Erik Paulson should drop some left hands on the chin of James Waring. Just chop on it. Just do the chop punch on it.
Yeah.
Prize money for this match is a major incentive. The winner will walk away with $115,000, and the runner-up is going to have...
Did he say $115,000 US? That is a lot of money. I did not know that it was that much money. I know those early underground UFC fights, I don't think they got paid anything, but nothing like that. That's significant money.
$25,000. And so great incentive to get into the finals.
Right.
That's why we see these two battling tooth and nail.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, that's right. And knee and elbow and shoulder and whatever else will work. Now a little more than 6 minutes now left in the fight.
A lot of money at stake. This is the biggest prize ever offered for this type of fighting to date.
I'd say.
These guys both want it real bad. You can see it.
Tom, I mentioned at the outset that this would be a war of attrition. No match personifies it more than this.
Oh, he's dropped Erik Paulson with a right uppercut.
Oh, there was an uppercut in there. Hang on. Let's go back. I didn't see that, but Paulson's on the ground now. It's not good.
Ever offered for this type of fighting to date. So these guys both want it real bad. You can see it.
Tom, I mentioned at the outset that this would be a war of attrition. No match
Body shot.
personifies it more than this.
I think it was the body shot. Head stomp. Another head stomp. And he's still holding his head. 3 head stomps. 4 head stomps. Punch straight to the face. Damn. Wow. Okay, so his team threw in the towel, but you know, I reckon Paulson was still in the match. He would have just kept fighting. He's a freaking machine, mate. He looked fine when he got up. He just looked like he was annoyed. But once again, you know, head stomps, soccer kicks to the head. More things that would just never happen today. And they have a cuddle afterwards.
Tom came in from the corner. He had seen that he had had enough.
I'll tell you, Waring's hand muscles have to be hurting after holding onto that hair for as long as he did. No fun for Paulson's head either. I'm just astounded at the way this thing went. I really am. I mean, and again, we get back, we've been harping on the hair all night, Todd, but I mean, I would really like to have seen what the outcome of this thing would have been if the hair wasn't such a factor, and it was.
Rob, do you think it would have been different?
Tom, I expected Waring to win the fight. I didn't
Paulson's
expect him to
fine,
win
look.
it the way he did it.
Yeah.
James Waring, you know, is,
Okay, he's got a bit of a swollen cheek.
was put into the
Left
Athletic
cheek.
Hall of Fame in Eastern Illinois University, and you can see his versatility here. He took advantage of what he had. He had the...
Okay, let's go up to John Higginson.
This guy with the out camo. So that guy just handed him the water. He was the guy on the sidelines. He's also got a ponytail. So I thought he was actually with Erik Paulson's camp, but unless he's being nice and Waring a drink. But I think the guy in the camo pants there gave Waring the idea about grabbing the hair.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the semifinals in the Strikers division with a time of 16 minutes and 8 seconds, winning by submission, James Jr. Waring.
Well, it wasn't submission. They just threw in the towel. So it wasn't, Paulson didn't submit.
James Waring, the victor, and now he's going to get some much needed rest, or hopefully he will get some rest.
So I don't think there's much else going on in this. Yeah, I think we're going on to another event there. But let me just go back here. So there you have it. First fight I ever saw. I was kind of astounded when I saw that. I was astounded by the violence. I was scared. I think I was in my early 20s, and I had a pretty rough school life, so I was always terrified of being stuck in a situation like that. And I really have to thank those two combatants, and especially Erik Paulson, because he showed so much heart, but also sort of showed me that there's principles and rules that you can try and apply that will help. You might not win, but you know, you can be in the fight, you can survive, you can buy yourself some time. And that's exactly what he did. He had an unprecedented situation, and he dealt with it as best he could. And ultimately, I mean, it wasn't him that bailed, right? His team threw in the towel, but he looked fine. He had a swollen cheek, but that was about it. He was probably gassed from the previous fight. But lessons learned are that nothing against long hair, but, you know, that's something that could happen. Someone might grab your hair if you're fighting. So bear that in mind. Okay, thanks for watching this reaction video, and I will see you soon.